What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
That's good, Frank.
What'd you make of what you heard from Simmons yesterday?
Well, I mean, there have always been rumors that he and Joel Embiid weren't really getting along that well, so that doesn't surprise me. And, clearly there was something going on with him because, after I always look at it this way. After Kevin Durant had that great playoff run with the Brooklyn Nets last year where, he proved that he was all the way back, after the series ended, he got on a plane, he went to Vegas and got ready to play for the national team. Ben Simmons also got knocked out in the second round, had a disastrous playoff, a disastrous series. He didn't want to, be aggressive in the fourth quarter. Didn't want to go to the free throw line. And he could have played for the Australian national team, and he wanted no part of it. He didn't want to play basketball. So here was Kevin Durant, who had nothing to prove, had the joy and the passion for the game that he wanted to play. And Ben Simmons, we haven't seen or heard from him since they lost that Game 7. So he's got a long way to go to kind of prove that he can get back to being at the level he was at. And a lot of it for me is just getting his confidence back and making free throws. That seemed to be one of his biggest issues last year in that playoff series against Atlanta.
Frank, do you think, though, that Ben getting out of Philadelphia with all the hostility that now that he's moved to Brooklyn, that he can get his game back? He's in a different comfort zone now?
Yeah, it's weird, too, because I always felt that the fans in Philadelphia were actually pretty supportive of him. I think they weren't going to be supportive of him after he wanted to be traded and didn't show up for training camp on time and all of that nonsense. But, clearly he was upset at what Doc Rivers said at the end of the playoffs, which I thought Doc was wrong for saying that. But it was one comment in the heat of the moment. You kind of get over that. But just like Harden wanted out of Brooklyn, he wanted out of Philadelphia. He got his wish, and he claims he's been working on his game. But you guys know how it works. We'll see. When the games start and, he's out there playing, we know he's a big-time athlete. He's going to defend. He's going to run the court. He can rebound the ball, obviously. But the big hurdle is going to be shooting and not three-point shooting. It's going to be those short jumpers and also free throws. Giannis Antetokounmpo had issues with free throws last year during the playoffs. He solved his issues during the postseason with that great Game 6 that he had against Phoenix, where I think he went 17 of 19 or 18 of 19 from the free throw line, whatever the heck it was. So that to me, everyone talks about three-point shooting. DeMar DeRozan the other day scored 40 points and didn't even attempt a three-pointer. So the fact that, I don't think the Nets need Ben Simmons to be a guy that lines up 35 feet outside from the hoop and is knocking down threes. They need him to be a guy that could make, mid-range jump shots and mostly make free throws. That was the biggest issue against Atlanta. He wasn't being aggressive because he didn't want to draw fouls and go to the free throw line.
Frank, let's go over to the other side of the equation with the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid and James Harden. And one of the things I've been talking about is Doc Rivers, the situation that occurred with Doc Rivers with the Clippers, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard not wanting him to be there, him getting moved out essentially. And then last year, I know that Ben Simmons was a scapegoat for the 76ers, but they were up multiple games, double digits, 20-plus points one game where they couldn't close out, and people started to question Doc Rivers in the scheme as well. How do you think he manages the personalities of James Harden and Joel Embiid?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Jay, because to your point, Joel Embiid right now is having an MVP type of season, and you bring Harden in. When Harden was on the Nets last year, Kevin Durant was out for a while. A lot of things going on with COVID. Kyrie had his stuff going on. He wasn't with the team. James Harden was right there neck and neck with Jokic as the MVP of the league until he had the hamstring injury, missed a bunch of games, and that kind of eliminated him from contention. But Doc's going to have a lot on his hands because you want to keep Joel Embiid playing at a high level. You have to incorporate James Harden, who likes having the ball in his hands, likes to work the shot clock really late, and take threes. And this. I mean, Embiid isn't really going to set high screens all the time and dive to the basket like Clint Capella did, or whoever was playing center for the Brooklyn Nets. He likes having the ball in different spots on the court. So who knows how that's going to work? I know this: Harden was motivated last year when he got to the Brooklyn Nets. There's no question about it. And when he wasn't 100% in the playoffs, he hurt his hamstring. To his credit, he went out there and played when he wasn't close to being the player that he was during the regular season. So for him, again, this is something that he wanted. It's the second time in 13 months that he got his way and got out of town. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. But if they don't win, there's already been whispers about Mike D'Antoni maybe, because Mike D'Antoni obviously has a relationship with Daryl Morey, James Harden. There'll be pressure on Doc Rivers. I think if they don't get out of the second round, Doc could be in some trouble. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I just think that's the reality of it.
Wow. Frank Isola, Yes Network and SiriusXM NBA radio host, joining us this morning on Keyshawn, JWill, and Max. Does this trade make sense for both sides, though, in the end? Or did both sides get ultimately better?
I think in the short term, it definitely helps both teams. I think in the long term, it helps both teams because probably one of the more underrated stories of the NBA season is that Kevin Durant has already signed an extension with the Brooklyn Nets. Mm-hmm. So, Kevin Durant came to Brooklyn, has already signed the extension. He's going to be there 3 or 4 more years, and you have Ben Simmons under contract. And you guys know Kevin Durant is off the charts, and he makes everyone around him better. When he's healthy, he plays hard. He makes the right plays. He's unselfish. He defends. He rebounds. He's only going to make Ben Simmons better. And then you add into it Seth Curry, who in theory is replacing Joe Harris, who you don't know about him, his status for the rest of the year with his ankle injury. And even Andre Drummond. The Nets needed size. They had no size this year. And in the first game that the two of those guys played, they made an impact. So, yes, the Kyrie situation needs to be sorted out, absolutely. Ben Simmons, still has to prove that he can be an effective player in terms of shooting the ball. But because you have Kevin Durant, again, you guys know this, the last 10 finals games the guy played in with the Warriors, they went 9-1. It's hard to win one finals game. This guy was nearly undefeated in the 10 games that he played with them. He's still a terrific player. And if I'm Ben Simmons, I'm over the moon that I get a chance to play with Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant is only going to make Ben Simmons better.
Yeah, and Frank, when you think about the shooting on the Nets, if Harris gets healthy with Seth Curry, they have like 45% shooters around Simmons. They could do like an extreme version of what Giannis did in Milwaukee if they put the ball in his hand.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.